Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Brad Tree living out as general manager of the Flames.
Yeah, he is. And I'm going to start there, if you don't mind.
Please do.
I'm not sure I have much more respect for anybody that I've ever been around in the game. He's a quality person. He's treated me with nothing but respect. He treats everybody around him with great respect. And there is no doubt in my mind that he will have new employment and new employment quickly. And Rod, I don't say this about many people in the hockey business after all my time, but I would personally work for Brad in about a minute.
Well, there you go.
That's what I think of him. I think he did a fine job, but here's the story. I did not see a situation where Brad and Daryl, who will remain obviously as the head coach. For people who don't know, Don Maloney, this got to be really hard for him. Him and Brad are as tight and as close can be. So as of today, Don Maloney, longtime GM in Arizona, terrific player, and another quality man. Have really enjoyed my time dealing with him as well. He's going to be the new president of hockey operations and the interim general manager.
Until what?
Until obviously probably him and Daryl get together and name a general manager.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
It would have been not the end of the world had he not played in game one, but your world is a whole lot better with number 27 in your lineup.
You had me at, have you ever had hernia surgery? I subscribe to the Mitchell Scruffy Blair philosophy that if you don't work out, you can't get hurt. So, no, I haven't had a hernia surgery, JT.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yes, it is. Happy Tuesday, right? Welcome to the RP Show, coming at you live from Ace Casino Airport and Hotel Clique, Calgary Airport. It is your boy, live on your favorite daytime sports talk show, Game Plus Television, WQEE. We are Atlanta's NHL show on the Fringe Radio Network. And it's not just me. Let's bring in, from what I understand, the blustery, snow falling Regina, Saskatchewan, the NHL's Bermuda Triangle. Moose, how you doing, Moose? What's shaking, bro?
Hey, doing well. Doing really good. Yeah, you're right. It is snowing like crazy out here. This is not what we want in mid to late April.
No, it's the winter that won't end, but that's okay. I'm sure it's put everybody in a bad mood. We're going to put you in a good mood. We're going to turn that frown upside down. Coming up today, Stanley Cup champion Colin Patterson from the '89 Flames, the pride of Rexdale, Ontario, is going to be with us later on in hour one to talk Stanley Cup playoffs, a little more of that, and some Dub Hub. Perry S. Hockey, Perry Shockey, is going to be with us here, and also the American Hockey League Coach of the Year, Mitch Love, of the Calgary Wranglers, as they get ready to open up the AHL playoffs. So it's a lot of hockey today, but we got some football talk too. Director Jordan, can you please hit the quick six show? And we'll get down to business. Okay, obviously, we're going to start with the opening night of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. Moose asked how late I stayed up to watch the hockey, and I said to the end of the Kings-Oilers game. I didn't stay up to the other, but let's start there. Alex Iafallo scored in overtime to lift the LA Kings to a 4-3 victory over the Oilers to open their first-round playoff series. Iafallo scored a power play goal at 9:19 of OT by converting Victor Arvidsson's feed from behind the net. Adrian Kempe scored twice, and Anze Kopitar had a goal and 3 helpers for LA, who held Oilers captain Connor McDavid scoreless. Kings goalie Eunice Korpisalo made 38 saves for the win. Oilers starter Stuart Skinner stopped 31 shots in his NHL playoff debut. So we're going to stop there and spend a minute on it. The text line's open, 902-518-3033. You can reach us right here at Ace Casino Airport with your comments and obviously on streaming as well. Darren, I finally listened to myself, my own policy Monday night, and that was don't tweet during the game. Because when it was 2-0 Oilers in the first period and then 3-1 in the third, I was like, this should be a short series. Nope, somebody told me, don't do it. And I didn't. And then, people say the Oilers stopped skating. I would prefer to say the Kings didn't quit. How about that? The Kings didn't quit.
How about that?
And they came out on top. And so they had a plan for McDavid, but I'm like, okay, so they're nullifying McDavid. You're doing it tonight. I don't know that you can do it forever in a series, but you're not stopping Draisaitl because he's possessed. Leon was possessed in game 1. Well, now those two can't do it alone. I almost feel, Darren, like they wasted a pretty good effort by Stuart Skinner here. 31 saves. If you noticed, all the goals were going over his shoulder. The Kings had a plan for that. But they're pretty upset. They were littering the ice with garbage. Not everybody. A couple of loons at the end of the game in Edmonton. Wild game, man. I'm glad I hung into the end.
Yeah, it was. It was wild. And you're right. I'm watching the early part of that game. I'm like, whew, LA can't skate with them. They can't skate with Edmonton. But you know what? You hang in long enough and you just get settled down. We always say first game of the series takes some time to settle in a little bit. And that game, as I kind of anticipated, was rough. It was mean. There was the nastiness, which you love. And, I've seen Oiler fans talk about how soft the penalty call was in overtime. But that game was starting to ramp up, and there was getting more frustrations. There were liberties after the whistles, and the refs are sitting there uncomfortable, being like, this is kind of getting away from us a little bit. We better call. Something's got to get called. And that was a trip. I mean, you were careless with the stick swinging back. It was a trip. It was an easy one, obvious one to call and get it out of the way. And then LA just made him pay with a great little design play, tic-tac-toe down at the bottom and in the back of the net. So great game. It's going to be a good series.
Oh, yeah. Just checking in from the Rod Squad. From the cheap seats, James in Borden, Manitoba says, let's go, RP show. Wayne in Victoria, BC, it was a good game, but I'm disappointed that the Oilers couldn't hold on to win the game. Troy in Toronto says, looking good, Darren. Go Leafs, go. Landry in Billings, Montana says, good morning, everyone. What a night of hockey last night. Wild Stars game was crazy, and a new nickname was given, Dirty Dumba. Woo. So we'll come back around on all of that. Even the reasoned Oilers fans and media are saying don't blame it on the penalty. There are some media, Jason Greger, that are blaming officiating. But I get it. And if I was in their position, I might too. But Darren, you said it right. Was it a trip? Yes. What do you say? Control your stick. Okay? Don't blame the official. So you got nobody to blame but yourselves when you have a 3-1 lead in the third period. So we'll go from there. I was going to go to the poll, but not yet. The poll question, but not yet. Because I want to talk about this. Brad Marchand scored his 50th career playoff goal. David Pastrnak and Jake DeBrusk also scored, and the NHL best Boston Bruins opened the playoffs by beating the Florida Panthers 3-1 on Monday night. Listen, Edmonton, you can't complain about the officiating because everybody in Florida is. Not everybody can complain about the officials. One was my good friend Andrew Imber, the public address announcer for the Florida Panthers. And I'm like, just stop. I mean, I watched 6+ hours of hockey last night, and I'm ready for more tonight. It will never get old. I will never get tired of it. But I knew and I want your take on this, everybody. Darren's and then everybody else. I don't know if you watched much of that game, but the Bruins were pretty much running the Panthers out of the ring. They were knocking them over like pancakes. And John Garrett in the third period doing color. I don't know why they got the Canucks crew doing the game, John Shorthouse and John Garrett, but good for them. Good for those guys. They're great. It was just weird. It's like I'm watching a Vancouver broadcast, but the Canucks aren't playing. Oh, yeah, because it's the playa.
Boom.
But I'm like, John Garrett says there's them physically, and I'm like, no, they haven't. And like I've always loved John Garrett. Kevin and I were talking about Cheech the other day and how great he is. But I'm like, I don't need to look at a stat sheet because I got the eyeball test. The Bruins are out hitting them. They're out shooting them. They're outscoring them. They couldn't lay a glove on them. And my point that I said I wanted your thoughts on, Darren, is Matthew Tkachuk saying, because he's getting criticized for this. Tkachuk said before the game, we need to play a perfect game just to win one game. And I'm thinking, Matthew Tkachuk is that kind of guy that he's just going to say it the way it is. And people don't like it. He's right. For the Panthers all year, what did I say going into the series? They'd be lucky to win one game. And Matthew Tkachuk said that before the series. Is it ideal that he said it? Probably not. Is he wrong? No. Thoughts?
Yeah, he's trying to take the pressure off his team, too. And it's always easy to take the pressure off and say, hey, nobody's expecting us to win a game. Nobody's expecting us to do well. We got to be perfect here, guys. Like, don't expect us to come out here and beat the Boston Bruins. And so then the guys can just play free and loose. And guys, we got nothing to lose. You know, it's as much that, too, as it is anything. And, yeah, they have to play pretty darn perfect. But there was moments in that game where you saw that they had chances. And the second goal was a tough one to give up from Lyon. But, you know, we'll see how they reset. Again, they didn't win every game in the regular season, but they did win a couple against Boston. And, you know, you dropped the first one. I don't think they should be too worried.
No, but they're not going to win the series. And I don't know if Matthew Tkachuk thinks far enough ahead for what you're saying that he was trying to take the pressure off, or if he was just being honest. Because I see myself and Matthew Tkachuk similar in a lot of ways. He just says what's on his mind or in his heart. And a lot of people don't like that. Well, sorry, you know where I'm coming from all the time, at least. You know where Chucky's coming from all the time. If you don't like it, that's your problem, really. But with gamesmanship in the media, and I'm just dying to get to the poll. I'll recap last night's other two games in a second. But my poll question is, what's the game of the night tonight for Key Auto Group? Key Auto Group has the largest selection of quality new and pre-owned vehicles in the Parkland area. Cars, trucks, SUVs. Your journey begins at keyautogroup.ca. If the Leafs win tonight, and everybody's predicting that they will, if the Leafs win tonight, let's just say play that game, I can see John Cooper, the Lightning coach, coming out and saying, well, hey, we're not supposed to win the series anyways, so you know, we're really just happy to be here. I could literally see John Cooper saying that. My brother's classmate at Notre Dame College, just with the gamesmanship of what he does. So we'll come around to the poll in a second, but I wanted to just throw that out. I could see Tkachuk not thinking ahead for that, but I could see John Cooper doing exactly that.
He's the best
But
at
in
it.
Dallas, Ryan Hartman, yeah, right, of course. Ryan Hartman scored 12-20 into the second overtime, and the Wild beat the Stars 4-3 in their playoff opener. Hartman gathered the puck in front of the crease and got it past Jake Ottinger at around 1 a.m. local time, ending a more than 4-hour game. It was the longest game in Wild history. And in Raleigh, Sebastian Aho and Stefan Nosen scored power play goals to help Carolina open its first-round playoff series with a 2-1 win. The Dumba hit on Pavelski. That's the last thing. 2 minutes at best. Shoulder to the head, almost incidental, or bang-bang, as we say in football. There's nothing there. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. It's more about, you know, it was a clean hit. If you want that stuff out of the game, you're going to have to tweak the rules a little bit. Yeah, it was tough, but it was more about Pavelski's head hitting the ice as it was about hitting the shoulder. It's violent. It was a violent hit, and it's scary, and it doesn't look good. And so we think someone's got to get suspended for that. That's tough. Dumba plays with an edge. He plays physical. I don't think there'll be any supplementary discipline.
We'll get to the viewers' comments in a second. There's Patter. Our guest is here. Colin Patterson, Stanley Cup champion. Make yourself at home. Wearing his Flames alumni hat again. Brave. I was talking with Serena about this morning. Cam Cole. You remember the legendary Cam Cole, post-media columnist. I believe he's in the Hall of Fame. He was tweeting last night from Kelowna saying that the NHL apologists are going to say this hit's fine. That's an intent to injure. It's dirty. And people went right after him. And probably this is on Twitter, my favorite response, some guy says, stick to golf, Cam. I was like, oh. Here's how it's different from Cam's day when he was roasting people, the NHL, the CFL back in the day. Nobody could go back at him. In 2023, now you can. That's part of the interesting part of what we do these days.
Yeah.
So we'll come back around on tonight's games in a second. Point two, very important Blue Jays point here. Jake Myers hit a 3-run homer in Houston's 7-run first inning, and the host Astros beat Kevin Gausman and the Blue Jays 9-2 Monday night. Myers and Corey Julks each finished with 2 hits and 3 RBIs for Houston. Matt Chapman homered for Toronto in the second, and Santiago Espinal went deep in the 8th. So we had somebody in the Blue Jays office watching the show yesterday, and they wrote in, and they're mad that I said Alex Manoah. I said both Alec and Alex, but you're right. So I'll put it on me. I apologize. I said your pitcher's name wrong. More than anything, thank you, Blue Jays,
Good one, Rod.
for watching. And I'll be better. How about that? I was defending the guy. Tell that guy it's Alec. Oh, my God. It's like, can't win. Hey, voted one of Canada's top burgers. It's a clique thing. Check it out at Tonic Kitchen and Bar, open till 1 a.m. nightly at Hotel Clique, Calgary Airport. We promised some football. We got a couple minutes in this segment. Jalen Hurts is set to sign one of the richest deals in NFL history, agreeing to a 5-year, $255 million extension with the Philadelphia Eagles. $179.3 million of that is guaranteed. He was rewarded for his breakout season in which he was named an AP NFL MVP finalist and led the Eagles to the Super Bowl, where they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll carry this over into the next segment. I think it's great. Our business operations manager, Morgan Hertz, she was proud. She was on top of the story this morning. She said to us at our morning meeting, Hertz has the female agent, Nicole Lynn. Great for her. That's a hell of a story, which we'll get into after, but I like that the Eagles have locked up Hertz. Is he worth the money? I guess. He got it. Thoughts?
Yeah, it's very early to tell if he's worth it because we have seen such a small sample size, but what else can he do? Took the team to the Super Bowl. I guess he could have won it, but he had an amazing performance in the Super Bowl, earned the reputation, the respect of all of his peers, and now he resets the market. That's how sports works, right? The next guy to renew at an elite level always gets to reset the market and become the top paid quarterback. Doesn't mean that he's better than Patrick Mahomes or better than Joe Burrow. He's just a little younger and he gets to negotiate his deal more recently. You know, when those guys renegotiate down the road, it'll reset the market again. So it's good for Jalen, good for his agent. It's a great story, and I think the Eagles are happy with it.
They should be. I think what I want to talk about coming back in the break, after the break, is how this relates to Lamar Jackson, because everybody's talking about that, the football fans, and so they got this deal done with Hurts. What's the holdup with Lamar Jackson? If you can believe already, it is April. The teams have opened their OTAs, believe it or not, and Lamar's not there at the Ravens OTA. He normally would be if he was under contract. And the sticking point there, from what I understand, is the guaranteed money portion. Lamar wants more, and we'll just have to pause and come back on that. We've got all other hockey, American Hockey League, Dub Hub. The NBA's got the playoffs going. Did you know that? We'll be right back to Ace Casino Airport and Hotel Clique, Calgary Airport, after this timeout on Game Plus. The streams and WQEE, your southern home of sports and talk, 99.1 FM.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The SJHL raffle is underway with your chance to win a brand new Polaris side-by-side, courtesy of the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. Tickets are available now until April 23rd, with the draw taking place live on SJHL Insiders April 27th. 1 for $25, 3 for $60, or 10 for $100. But there are only 5,000 tickets available. Get yours today at sjhlraffle.ca.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
RP Show continues from that spot right there, Ace Casino Airport, where, by the way, join the Ace Casino Airport every Tuesday and Thursday for Seniors Day. Seniors can enjoy discounted food items along with a chance to win your share of cash and prizes with a lucky roll of the dice. Because, as you know, we're very big with a senior. That's right. You know what? We're all, yeah. Live studio audience again. I love it. I love it. Hey, Moose, let's bring in the Moose. You wanted to bring this up yesterday, and I didn't, but I can't. It's not going away. And since we have the people watching us at Rogers Center with the Blue Jays, why not? A tweet from Blue Jays pitcher Anthony Bass is prompting a lot of discussion online. On Sunday, Bass expressed outrage at United Airlines after he claimed the flight staff made his pregnant wife get on her hands and knees to clean up a mess made by their children during the journey. Bass wrote on Twitter, "The flight attendant at United just made my 22-week pregnant wife traveling with a 5-year-old and 2-year-old get on her hands and knees to pick up the popcorn mess by my youngest daughter. Are you kidding me?" The tweet, which has been viewed 10.9 million times, received a divisive wave of replies. Some called for a shame on the United Airlines staff member, while most others celebrated the employee for insisting that customers ought to clean up their own messes. What do you have to say about that? I'm interested to know where you land on this.
Well, it's so interesting because as you're reading it, I'm sitting there being like, clean up after yourself. That's how you and I were raised. I'm pretty sure you clean up after yourself. You leave it as you found it, right? That's all very important. But this is, if you saw the photo, this isn't like a bag of chips and a chocolate bar wrapper and that kind of stuff. This is crumbs of popcorn. It is very rare that anybody eats popcorn and doesn't put some crumbs on the couch, on the floor, in the seat. When you leave the movie theater, it's common courtesy, take your popcorn bag, take your cup container, and put it in the damn garbage, right? But I'm not going on my hands and knees in the movie theater sweeping up debris of popcorn. That's what the cleaning staff is for, and that's what they're getting paid for. So I don't think he should have posted this on the internet because it makes him look bad, but I also think the cleaning crew's like, really? We're just going to vacuum this in 2 seconds.
I agree with you. I don't know if that's rare or common, but I looked at the photo. I just looked at it now. I'm like, it doesn't look that bad, the mess. Because I think we've all left, whether it be a restaurant where there's a young family at a table or a flight, and you look around where that young family was, and it's like, are you kidding me? Like a bomb went off. You know, and that's disrespectful. This didn't look that bad. So it's funny what you say about the cleaning staff at the movies, by the way. And I've started to clean up myself after the movies. I don't know what. Maybe you inspired me to do that, but I take my garbage to I never used to be that guy. Now I am. But I go to these movies here at Landmark Cinemas in Calgary so early that, like, the other movie's letting out, and I go sit down. Cleaning staff comes in. They're like, are you? I'm like, yeah, I'm here for the next one. Just clean around me. Nothing else to do. So anyways, we're both with Anthony Bass. How about that? Who would have believed it? SJHL fans, get your tickets now for the SJHL raffle for your chance to win a brand new Polaris side-by-side. Tickets are available now at sjhlraffle.ca and are on sale until April 23rd. Tickets are 1 for $25, 3 for $60, or 10 for $100. All proceeds from the raffle support the SJ and its member teams. That's sjhlraffle.ca. Don't wait. Get your tickets today. For all of our friends watching in Saskatchewan that are all hot to trot on the SJHL final, the Cantera Seeds final, you're welcome. Why are they not going to Flin Flon for games 3 and 4 till Friday? We got a university schedule going on here. Games 1 and 2 were in North Battleford last weekend, and we got to wait till Friday for game 3. Do we know why? By chance, Moose?
No,
okay.
I'm guessing. Like, I can't imagine the Whitney Forum is that overbooked. And that's nothing against the Whitney Forum, like Flin Flon or anything like that. Maybe they just want the Friday, Saturday days, and that's when they're going to draw more fans. I'm not sure. But either way, I hate having to wait this long.
Yeah. Right? Maybe they just feel like they were advancing too fast in the series, and maybe that's the deal across all the Junior A leagues across Canada, is they're all going to converge in Portage. Right? And maybe they're like, look, the thing doesn't start for 3 weeks. My guess is they're trying to spread the series out time-wise. They didn't want to get it done too fast. That would be my guess. But I got good friends on the Stars for sure. I'll give them a call today and find out. We'll get to the bottom of it. So, again, okay, the poll question for Key Auto Group, and we talked about Key earlier. What is the game of the night in the NHL? Night 2 of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. You're going to be surprised at what I'm voting for. But 40% of you, this leads, is Lightning Leafs. 40% Lightning Leafs. 24% voting for Jets Golden Knights. 27% Rangers Devils. And not shockingly, 9% Kraken and Avalanche.
Yeah.
Our daily poll is for Key Auto Group. Check them out online at keyautogroup.ca. So my featured game tonight is the Leafs and the Lightning. And I wanted to ask you about this. Sheldon Keefe, did you see him break off his media scrum early yesterday after practice? Some scribe can't get the question out of his mouth. The noise in town is that it's not going to be enough. That you need to winning one round isn't. He's like, I should have ended this one question ago. At least he smiled as he walked out of the scrum. Oh my! What? And the media wonders why the coaches and players don't want to talk to them. But I'm geeked up, man. I'll probably be at Tonic Kitchen and Bar over here at Hotel Cleat, Calgary Airport. If anybody wants to join me, I might even have a steak because it's Senior's Day. I'm almost a senior.
You're not a senior.
I'm a ways away, but I can't wait to be a senior. I'm looking forward to it.
I know.
People don't understand getting old in life is a blessing. But anyways, I digress. Are you nervous in advance of the game tonight?
Yeah, I'm nervous. And what do you want Sheldon Keefe to say? I mean, they've been through this so many times, first rounds and lose and first rounds and lose. So they say, the pressure is a privilege. At least we're here. We know there's a lot of teams that don't get this opportunity, and that's the same things they've said every year. But yeah, I'm a little nervous for sure. And I think there's a lot of eyeballs, obviously, on this series. You're going to have to beat somebody good to overcome it. There's no easy way out of this, so put your head down and go at it full throttle. I'm curious to see how Game 1 goes tonight.
Yeah, and Colin Patterson coming up next segment from Rexdale, Ontario. He talked about, because that's a suburb of Toronto, he talked about the pressure on the Leafs opening at home. And that's the thing is they, asked Sheldon Keefe about that. And he's like, we've coached 82 games to get here. Clearly there's pressure. We all know that. How's that going to affect them when they take to the ice tonight? Patter will discuss that when he joins us next segment. But it's also funny because the last time he was here, I said to Colin, you got to admit the Oilers are the better team than the Flames right now. And he was like, okay, right now. But he didn't want to admit it. And like, how can you not, man? They beat him in 5 last year. They finished how many points ahead of them this year? But with the Oilers blowing it last night, you have spent enough time in Alberta to realize the hatred between the two cities. It's impressive. Very impressive that there would be that kind of angst between two cities. It's that Boston-New York thing. I get it. But they are just snickering to themselves that the Oilers blew this one last night. Yeah, but I'm like, you finish the sentence. At least they're in the playoffs, right? Stephen in North Dakota chimes in. He says, the age of discount sounds better than senior/seasoned citizen. You grow out of a discount and back into discount status. Sure. B. Henderson says, it used to be funny at how sad people were at Leaf Square when Game 7s ended. Now it's just depressing. Well, I'll leave you with this because you're done today, I think, Moose, after this segment. The Leafs are going to win this series, in my mind, because they have to. They simply have no choice. Are you too much of a bundle of nerves? You can't get a proper sense on what's going to happen in this series because it's your team. I think
there's a lot on the line. I think if they don't win, you start looking at, this core group and, Austin Matthews, if you can't win with this group and see some signs forward, you're going to start thinking about the end of the contract and moving on. And it might not happen immediately, but these are all things that play into this. And there's a lot of pressure. Like, you don't want to let these years go by with the Tavares, Nylander, Marner, Matthews group and Riley to go by without winning. This is, this core, it's kind of now or never. So, yeah, there's a lot of nerves in Toronto, no doubt, and in all Leafs Nation, however big that stretches.
Can't wait for the game. So, for me, this game tonight, as I've said, it's a recovery phrase. You can't schedule feelings. You've heard me say that before. I would have thought I'd be more geeked up for Winnipeg, Vegas tonight, but I'm not. I'm more geeked up for the Leafs and the Lightning. The good thing is I get to watch both. And maybe by the time round one is over, that series will be more of my interest. But right now, it's Toronto-Tampa. From the audience, Ryan in Saratoga, New York says, good day, Rod Squad. I just watched the hype video the Devils posted on Twitter, and I'm ready to run or skate through a wall. Let's go, Devils. Jen from the Four Seasons She wrote in, she goes, good morning, everyone. Late penalty by number 72 and a penalty in overtime on 2 cost us the game. Stay out of the damn box. Oy vey. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says Rod is closer to Edmonton at Ace Casino than he was at Grey Eagle. Maybe he's going up there for game 2. Oh, I would love to go up there for game 2. I never even thought about that. Because, to be honest, I'll leave you with this. The owners of this place showed up yesterday, and they made a really big deal about the show being here. And a really big deal about Peter Lavardius being here. You see their, go follow Ace Casino Airport on Facebook. They did a post welcoming us. This is our home. Until that changes, I don't see why anything would change in terms of going to Edmonton. Jason in Red Deer says, weighing in on the Anthony Bass tweet, they didn't make his wife clean up after their kids. He did by not doing it for her. He wasn't there.
How about that?
Don't take me to negative town today so early. I'm having a good day. Arlen Bruce III says, hey, RP and Moose, I became a hockey fan last season, and it would be nice to see a Canadian team win the cup. Thanks, AB. Yes, it would. Guy's been in Canada since, 2003? He just now got on the hockey train. Thanks, AB. And we've all felt that way since 1993. Anyways, I'm going to read his bio now so we don't waste time after the break. Colin Patterson played, he's from Rexdale, Ontario, played in the Ontario Junior A Hockey League with the Royal York Royals and then Clarkson University and then the National Hockey League, 504 games with the Calgary Flames, mostly from 83 to 91, and then the Buffalo Sabres for 2 seasons, won a Stanley Cup. And he's made his home here, and he's a real good guy. And by the way, I said to him, Darren, in the last break, I said, did you find us on TELUS? He's like, yeah, Channel 924. And I said, well, then you know we're legit. And he goes, I wasn't sure till I saw you on there. Now I know. So Colin Patterson is here. Stanley Cup champ joins us next. Thanks, Moose. Great open. Have a good one. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Pitter patter, let's get at her after this timeout. Live from Ace Casino Airport and Hotel Clayton Calgary Airport on Game Plus Television, the streams, and your southern home for sports and talk, WQEE, the key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
The SJHL raffle is underway with your chance to win a brand new Polaris side-by-side, courtesy the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. Tickets are available now until April 23rd, with the draw taking place live on SJHL Insiders April 27th. 1 for $25, 3 for $60, or 10 for $100, but there are only 5,000 tickets available. Get yours today at sjhlraffle.ca.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Beautiful morning in the foothills, and here we are live at Ace Casino Airport. By the way, UFC 288 free viewing party for UFC 288 is right here, like about 30 feet from me. May 6th, all UFC pay-per-view events every month at the Ace Casino Airport Sports Bar on the 40-foot TV wall. We read you his hockey bio, so let's bring him in now. Colin Patterson, Stanley Cup champion with the Calgary Flames, joining us here at Ace. And Patter, thanks for coming down, sir. It's been too long. It's been a few weeks. How you doing?
A few weeks. It's been great.
Yeah.
Lots happened in those few weeks,
He
too.
said, yeah, he's like, what are we going to, at least the Flames aren't in the headlines. Obviously, I'll get your take on that first, but a great opening night of the Stanley Cup playoffs, depending on your perspective. I'm sure you were happy with it.
Well, I was happy with it.
Yes.
There's no question about that, but it was fantastic. I love when the playoffs start. Love the first round, because you know what? Anytime you turn the TV on, it's exciting hockey, and there's going to be hockey on. You know, I was jumping between the 4 games last night, obviously the first 2, and then you know, when Edmonton started playing, they're up 2-0. I go, this can be a runaway.
That's what I thought, too.
And then I tuned into the Dallas-Minnesota game, and it was really good. Mm-hmm. And then it sort of came back to the Edmonton game when I found out it was in overtime. And then when, you take a penalty, penalties kill you. You got to be disciplined in playoffs. And, you look at those, there are 2 goals, for LA were on penalties. So, at the end, to tie it up and to win in overtime, you just got to be so disciplined now. And you never know what they're calling. I saw the hit on Pavelski. I go, how's that not a penalty? But,
really?
The guy lays down. Yeah, like to me, the whole thing with Dumbo, when he hit him, he was lunging at him. And he did catch him with his shoulder, or the stick hit his face. So I think there is something there. Was it a 5-minute? No, but I thought it was at least a 2-minute.
So Colin, he's exactly like me. We're so excited. We're jumping from series to series to series. I would just say, where do you think, and maybe you weren't watching at this point, that it turned for the Oilers? Because I was with you. Jen writes in, she says, did anyone hear any news on Pavelski from the hit last night? Well, I don't believe he returned, and I don't think you're going to hear anything on an off day. No. So there's that. But was there a moment that you saw the Oilers game change, or were you watching when it happened?
I wasn't watching when it happened. I was shocked when I got back to it, and it was, they did tie it up.
Yeah.
I know that the shots on net were probably a little deceiving. When I was watching, Edmonton was dominating. And, that first period especially, and, when you're on the road, the first 10 minutes is very important. You got to take the crowd out of it because everybody's so fired up for it. And if you can do that, then you might have some success. But that first 10 minutes, Edmonton scores a couple of goals, and they're all over them. And I go, boy, it could be a long night for L.A., and are you regrouping and thinking of the next game?
See, that's kind of an Edmonton thing. The Oilers fans that are upset, and they're very upset today for obvious reasons. Colin, you've been around this game longer than me. The regular season's for that stuff. You're supposed to have learned, right? You can't do it in the playoffs. Like, the Kings, They didn't quit. I give them a lot of credit. And I'm sorry I'm jumping around, but I'm just excited to talk with them. The Oilers were flying out of the gate. Did that have to do with being at home, do you think?
I think there's part of that. I think it's part of the excitement of, the playoffs starting. But it is tough at times to get home ice advantage, especially with a team that's very close to you, or a team that's so far spread out.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Boston. I go, they lose last night. Everything that they worked for all season long is gone. They lose home ice advantage. So now Edmonton and LA, they were closer in points and probably in the series through the year too. But now Edmonton's got to find a way. One is to focus on this next game, not get caught about thinking, we got to win a game in LA. Let's focus on this game at home first, and then we'll worry about that.
Really good point, and I'm so glad that we've got Colin for about 30, 40 minutes because we've got a lot to get to here. But he mentioned the Boston game. I watched that one. What was the final? 3-1. They had a goal called back late. But I just didn't, like Matthew Tkachuk said going in, you must have seen the quote they put up on the screen. We have to be perfect to win one game. He's getting roasted for that. He was just telling the truth.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with telling the truth. They do have to be perfect.
Yeah.
Because Boston has a very deep team. We talked about just before we got on air. They've got so much depth in that organization right now for their team that you go, even if you have to, Bergeron's out. He's arguably one of their best players, if not, the best player on their team, most experienced. There's lots of stuff. And he's not even playing last night, and they still play, they still win. So Matthew's right. I mean, you got to play a perfect game against these guys. You can't make a mistake. You can't give them an opportunity. They got a, good power play. They got great penalty killing. I mean, so you have to be on your game, and you have to play your best game. And if they don't think they have to do that, I think they're sadly mistaken.
Well, let's relate the story that we talked about before we were on the air about the analytics and the hits. I don't care what the stat sheet says. Boston mauled them. They ran them over.
And that's the thing, right? I go, yeah, you can have 50 hits in each game, or each team have 50 hits, but what are real hits and what are takeout hits? And if you're just rubbing a guy out and that's counting as a hit, or you're actually physically going in there and you're hitting a guy hard, and you look at those teams that did that last night. Minnesota, obviously, we talked about the Pavelski hit, but they were following through on their hits every time, which doesn't happen in regular season. And that's probably what caught Joe Pavelski, off too. Yeah, and I mean, he's sort of watching his pass, and in regular season, maybe that doesn't happen. Playoffs year, you got to take, especially if you're the team that is the underdog and you don't have the high skill level, you got to follow through on your hits every time. Because you got to wear the guys out. You can't look at it as it's not a one-game series. You got to look at it as a 7-game series. And by the time you get in that 6th or 7th game, that's when, things start to happen where, the guy who's a skilled guy gets the puck and now he's thrown away because he doesn't want to get hit. Or, you're rubbing him out, or he doesn't want to go in the corner to get the puck, and that allows your team to do that. And Minnesota did that last night. I was watching all their guys following through on their hits, and that's what, led them into the win column.
You said your eyes lit up talking about Game 1 of the Stars and the Wild. So what specifically was it that you liked so much?
I just think, they don't like each other. For starters, and that's always good for a rivalry. Yeah. But just the speed of the game, and I don't know if it was a camera angle, but I was going back and forth, and I was going, boy, that game looks way faster. Everybody was hitting, everybody was into it. It wasn't lopsided one way or the other. One team would go down and the other team would come down. It was a high-spirited competition, and I enjoyed that. I mean, watching the Oilers game when I did, the Oilers were all over them. I just thought,
it's going to be fast.
5-0, before the end.
Exactly what I thought. I'm like, this could be a fast series.
No.
Now they're down 0-1.
And that's the thing. And then, you just, I still think that they'll come out on top. The Oilers have too much talent, and, they're a good team. I mean, I watched Connor McDavid just go through the guys again last night, and I was like, man, unfortunately he didn't score, but you have to keep a guy like him off the board if you're LA. And LA has some players that can do that, and they're fired up for it too. They like the challenge, which I go, good for them.
Did it make your heart warm that the Oilers blew that game and lost?
It did. I'm not gonna lie.
I knew it.
Yeah.
Hey, shocked.
Yeah.
I was telling everybody early, the last time you were on, I said, can you admit the Oilers are a better franchise than the Flames right now? And you're like,
It's tough.
Oh, it was hard for you. I could tell. Hey, we have about 30 seconds. Jen says the penalty called in overtime was questionable, but you can't blow two-goal leads. What about the trip in overtime? It was a trip. You can't swing your stick. Why are we talking about it?
Yeah, I mean, it is a trip. I go, in days gone by, that probably wouldn't have been called, but, for the way the game is now, yeah, everything's going to be called like that, especially a trip. I'm sure if you would have tackled the guy, they probably wouldn't have called it, but if you trip a guy or you knock his stick out of his hands.
Black and white.
Yeah.
Colin Patterson with us and talking Stanley Cup playoffs. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Flames news, and then in hour 2, we will talk about tonight's games. Perry Shockey's here for NHL, AHL, WHL playoff talk, and Mitch Love, the head coach of the Calgary Wranglers, AHL Coach of the Year, coming up in hour 2 as well. We're live from Ace Casino Airport and Hotel Cleat Calgary Airport on Game Plus, the streams, and WQEE 99.1 FM.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Hi, my name's Logan Stanko.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
The SJHL raffle is underway with your chance to win a brand new Polaris side-by-side, courtesy the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. Tickets are available now until April 23rd, with the draw taking place live on SJHL Insiders April 27th. 1 for $25, 3 for $60, or 10 for $100, but there are only 5,000 tickets available. Get yours today at sjhlraffle.ca.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, it's a lot of fun. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Calgary, Canmore, Whistler get exclusive rates, early access to offers, and insider tips. It's a Cleat thing. Inquire at Hotel Cleat, Calgary Airport, or cleat.ca. A quick sports update before more with Colin. Patterson. The Toronto Blue Jays look to bounce back from a 9-3 loss as they play the second game of a 3-game road series with the Houston Astros tonight. It's Chris Bassett for the Jays against Houston's Jose Urquidy. The Boston Celtics and New York Knicks can both go up 2-0 in their respective NBA series with wins tonight. The Celts host the Atlanta Hawks in Game 2. Boston won the first game 112-99. And the Knicks, meanwhile, coming up a 101-97 win over the Cleveland Cavaliers. This sports update is for Landmark Cinemas. Sign up now for Landmark Extras and see what's playing at landmarkcinemas.com, like in theaters now. The Super Mario Brothers movie. Colin Patterson's with a Stanley Cup champion, 1989 Flames. And the Flames, as you pointed out, in the news in a big way. Daryl Sutter remaining on the bench, Patter, and Brad Treliving out. What did you think when the news came down Monday?
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough news for people in Calgary. I mean, Brad's been a great guy, great GM. He's done a lot of good things for the team and the city and the organization. And it's different when people get fired, but when you have somebody who leaves the organization because they can't come to an agreement, that to me that was tougher to take. But he is a great guy. He's going to land somewhere. I mean, lots of people have talked about it. He'll definitely land somewhere and be in a very good position where he is. So, yeah, it was a sad day for the Flames, and I think for the players too, because he had great relationships with those players. He brought other than I think Michael Backlund, he brought every player in, whether they drafted them or whether they traded for them. But yeah, it is tough when something like that happens.
It's a great point. And I've been around this a long time. The players look at it, or they should, and go, I'm here because of him.
Yeah.
And then you play guilty. Problem is now it's they might forget by the fall.
Yeah, we've got a couple of months to think about it.
Yeah, but I said yesterday to Lou, sat in that chair, Brad Treliving can leave the saddle alone with his head high.
Oh, absolutely. He did, when you think back, last summer, I mean, he did incredible things. I couldn't believe what he got for Tkachuk, and Tkachuk is obviously worth a lot too, but what he did, I mean, sort of revived the franchise from that 2-week, area where Johnny leaves, and you're losing a star player for nothing, and now you potentially could lose another one in a year that you wouldn't get anything for. And he comes up with a great deal and then signs Kadri on top of that. I thought he did a fantastic job. It was unfortunate it didn't work out the way everybody thought it would. We talked last time I was on. When you looked on it on paper, I thought they were a better team than they were the year before, but it just didn't pan out that way.
I think we all think that. So what's Daryl Sutter thinking today, do you think?
Well, I'm not sure what Daryl's thinking, but I know he's going to be meeting up, from what I understand and heard on the news, that he'll be meeting up with Don Maloney and I would assume John Bean and be discussing, the team and the future and what it looks like. But yeah, I think everybody needs to take, a step back and look at themselves in the mirror too and say, what could I have done better?
Yeah, well, from a Flames fan perspective, I mean, they're upset, but it could be worse. You have a good team.
Yeah. It's not like, that somebody's leaving and they don't have anything, for the team or in the cupboard, as they would say, with the team, with their minor league team. I think they've got, some good players down there.
One of the best teams.
Yeah, and you look at it, you go, okay, well, there's stuff there to work with. So, yeah, I think, it's sad to see Brad go, but it's a great opportunity for somebody else, too, to step in and, whoever they decide, and I think hopefully they're going to decide fairly quick. They've got a list of people, they've got, internal candidates, so I would hope that it doesn't stretch on too long.
Colin Patterson, good enough to stick with us into hour 2. We'll be right back. Also in hour 2, Perry Shockey joining us, longtime WHL head coach, NHL scout, and Mitch Love of the aforementioned Calgary Wranglers, the AHL Coach of the Year. Lots coming up after this brief pause on the Game Plus television network, the streams, and your southern home of sports and talk, WQEE, The Key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hey Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
The SJHL raffle is underway with your chance to win a brand new Polaris side-by-side, courtesy the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. Tickets are available now until April 23rd, with the draw taking place live on SJHL Insiders April 27th. 1 for 25, 3 for 60, or 10 for 100. But there are only 5,000 tickets available. Get yours today at sjhlraffle.ca.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
It would have been not the end of the world had he not played in game one, but your world is a whole lot better with number 27 in your lineup.
You had me at, have you ever had hernia surgery? I subscribe to the Mitchell, Scruffy, Blair philosophy that if you don't work out, you can't get hurt. So, no, I haven't had a hernia surgery, JT.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. They say time flies when you're having fun, and that's the case today on this Tuesday, episode number 982 of your favorite daytime sports talk show, coming your way live from Ace Casino Airport, Calgary, and Hotel Clique, Calgary Airport. It's night 2 of the Stanley Cup Playoffs, and last hour we recapped night 1. We've got Colin Patterson with us, gentlemen. If you can bring him in, Stanley Cup champion from the 89 Calgary Flames, and we'll just throw this at him right now. The poll question today for Key Auto Group is, what is the game of the night tonight in the National Hockey League? Key Auto Group has the largest selection of quality new and pre-owned vehicles in the Parkland area. Cars, trucks, SUVs. Your journey begins at keyautogroup.ca. Leading the way, Leafs Lightning. we could have called this ourselves. Next, Winnipeg, Vegas, and then New Jersey, Rangers, and then barely anybody voting for Seattle, Colorado. But I'm interested to know yours, Patter.
I think Toronto.
Yeah, me
Tampa.
too. That's what I
just
vote
go. It's a huge game for Toronto. You're sort of in the same situation with the Edmonton, LA game.
Yep.
So you've got Toronto. They've had a great regular season again. They've got home ice advantage. But you're playing a very experienced team, as we talked about last time. And if you lose that, however, if they lose it, the fans are on them, the media's on them. We're just back to, the same thing, same old, same old. And if they win, then, they're still waiting for the shoe to drop. But it's going to be the big game of the night. And, those fans will be all pumped up. The players will be excited because they want to prove themselves. On the other side, you've got Tampa. They got great goaltending. They've got a really solid team too. It's whether their depth and will guys be able to play. And they made a couple of trades that added to that depth, but they've got some injuries too.
From the audience, Landry in Billings, Montana says, "Am I the only one to vote for Colorado, Seattle?" Yes, but we'll cover all those series with Patter. Terry in Calgary says, "Excellent. Colin again. We don't invite Rudy Poos on the show." And Shock's coming up, and Mitch, look, we only have the best. And I'm serious about that. Where did I want to go with this? Leafs Lightning. I'm not quite done with that. You've been through these wars, the Stanley Cup playoffs. Like, I'm wondering, all the networks have got the Leafs are going to win. Everybody says the Leafs are going to win. It's from the pundits. What are the Lightning thinking, sitting in their hotel rooms in Toronto, flipping through the channels, seeing that?
And that's the best thing for them to see and hear.
Yes.
Is, that fuels you. You go, okay, wow, you guys think you're that good. And, it's going to be, it's nerve-wracking for the home team, too, for the Leafs, because there is a ton of pressure on them. I mean, that media is ruthless. It's everywhere in the city. So these guys, there's a lot of, pent-up energy and demand for the Leafs to win. And so you've got that, extra baggage you're carrying around. And for Tampa, this is great. If you lose a game or you lose two games, you still haven't lost a series because you haven't, you go back home and you can win two. So it's interesting. I'd rather be on the underdog side at times because it's an easier game to play. You just have to play a solid game. You don't have to do anything fancy where, Toronto, if they get behind, they're going to take chances, and that usually leads to more goals against.
You're from Rexdale, Ontario. Did you ever want to play for the Leafs?
Yeah, at some point, I think when I was probably, 7 or, 5 years old to 20 years old, would love to play for the Leafs. But once, you got in the league and you played for another team, you realized how, tilted the league is towards, or Canada is towards the Leafs. And
I know.
You could, as I always say, you could play 30 years in the league, but if you didn't play for Toronto, people in Toronto wouldn't know you. But you play one game, you get some guy who plays one game for Leafs. Oh, he was great.
He was a Leaf.
Love him.
Yeah, exactly. Winnipeg, Vegas.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a really interesting series. Winnipeg's goaltending is very good. Winnipeg is probably a better team than they showed throughout the year. Hopefully everything will come together for them. Vegas is, they've got a solid team, but there's a lot of individuals on that team. They're just starting to get some players back too. So we'll see how that goes. It comes down to power play penalty killing when you truly get into the nitty gritty of it. If you're playing disciplined hockey, you're not taking penalties. Well, you can kill off a couple. But if you're taking a lot of dumb penalties and penalties that are away from the play, or the tripping ones we talked about last night, those are bad penalties, or breaking somebody's stick. If you're taking it for a big hit or a play where you got to save a goal, then your guys will rally around, and they will rally around no matter what you do. But it is tougher to kill a lot of penalties, and you can have success at that, but you got to stay out of the box.
We're making our way around all these series. Jenna writes in, she says, "Good morning from Southern California, NHL playoffs." She's a Sabres fan, by the way. Do you have a quick Sabres story? Patterson spent 2 seasons there. Do you have a quick one for Jenna? She's a Sabres fan.
Well, I mean, the Sabres, great spot. And when I first got traded there, my first game in the old Odd, and you parked under the expressway. So you got all these, overpasses going over, and the Sabres players parking lot was underneath there. So wheel in, and this, security guard goes, "Oh, you must be Colin Patterson." I said, "Yeah, sure am." He goes, "Nice to meet you. Where do you want to park?" I said, "Right there, first spot." He goes, "Are you sure?" I said, "Absolutely." He goes, "Well, then you park there." I come out after the game. My car is literally covered in bird shit. Like, so bad, Rod, that I go, I'm going, now I know why the guy didn't want me to go there and park there.
And you weren't even a rookie.
And I go, oh, man. So I get in. And of course, the worst thing you do is put the windshield wipers on. It's a bird shit all over. I got to roll down my window, look out, and there's a car wash spot, a couple bays down the street. So I pull in. They've got it all gated, right? It's all gated. And the guy goes, "You must be Colin Patterson." I go, "Yeah." I go, "How'd you know that?" He goes, "All the new players come here after the game." I went in and sprinted down. Yeah, I was just like,
on cue, man. He kills it. We're working our way around to all these series, but I love the audience participation. And Jason in Red Deer says, "You're not in trouble until you lose at home." Hey, Rod, please tell me you're not one of the guys that says that, because it's my pet peeve. Because how many Game 7 series that are Homer series, every team wins at home, the home team wins the series. I hate that saying.
But there is some truth to the saying too, right? But I go, and that's why it's sometimes tougher to start at home. You get the nerves going, and you got to work things out. I think the better team in the end wins, whether they have home ice advantage or not, or they lose home ice advantage. They'll come back and they'll get home ice advantage back by beating the team in their rink. I look at Edmonton and LA last year, and I thought, boy, LA's going to win this, and then Edmonton comes back and they win those two games at games 6 and 7. So I think that the series is sort of shaping up in a similar way. Edmonton seems to play better in LA for some reason. I don't know why, but probably there's less pressure on them to do that.
Speaking of pressure, Colorado, Seattle, like the only advantage I could see the Kraken have is that nobody expects them to do anything.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the only thing. And I go, that series, I think, Colorado, it's good for them because then they can get some guys rested, although you don't want to understate your opponent. But when I look at those two teams, Colorado is probably, up as a favorite to, win as well the Stanley Cup again.
Sure.
So if you look on the West, I go, the two teams that I think about, are Edmonton and Colorado. But, Colorado might have an easier run, to get there too.
You want to take a swing at how many games Colorado and Seattle will go? I said 5.
Yeah, I think 5, and it might only be 4. Depending on, how disciplined they are, which Colorado's a pretty disciplined team. So I think they're getting guys back at the right time. Obviously, they're not going to have Landeskog, which is unfortunate because he's a key part of that team. But, they've done a good job of replacing players, too. They lost Kadri. They lose a couple guys, and, through injury and trades and free agency. But I think they've done a good job of bringing guys up, like guys who are fourth-line players, now they're third or second-line players, and through, bringing in some other players, too, through the trade deadline.
Well, they've been regarded as, the last couple of years, the most talented team in the NHL. And last year, they finally brought it all together. Their head scout, Wade Klippenstein, lives just down the road in Lethbridge. You don't lose that over the summer,
no,
right? You got talent in your organization.
Yeah, and I think, then it comes down to goaltending. And, last year they had, some good goaltending when the time counted. And that's going to be a key issue for them once you get past the first round. And they can't look past that Seattle team. Seattle's, every time, we talked about it a few weeks ago. They're a team that it's an anomaly in a way. You go, oh, they're going to be out of it, and then they start winning. They, I remember they went on a streak there when they beat Boston in Boston. And I go, how does that happen?
It was like 12 or 13 in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah. Landry in Billings, Montana says Seattle's been tough against them. They won 2 of 3 this year. Yeah, well, Florida won 2 of 3 off Boston, and they didn't even put a hand on them last night. So I appreciate you, Landry, what you're saying, but I don't think it'll be close. Now, the other one, Devils Rangers. There's just something about that tri-state thing. That's exciting.
Oh, it is. I think it's great. And I go, now you got the Hughes brothers playing in New Jersey, in Jersey. But Rangers are a really good team. I mean, they've got a lot of talent. They can put it together and play as a team. They're a force to be reckoned with, too.
I got Rangers to win, and people saying if that happens, it's not an upset.
Yeah,
I think, and they're opening on the road.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I go, there's some teams where you go, they're very close, in play, and then, at the end of the season, you look at those two teams and you go, they're both good teams. They're both playing well. So yeah, nothing would surprise me if the Devils win. Is that an upset? No. Rangers win is an upset? No.
All of the round one, there's 8 series, as you know. Labardius and I were talking about it yesterday. There is always one upset. I've got many beating Dallas as my upset. If you were to pick one, what do you think it would be?
Yeah, I think you might be right on that. I as I said, watched that series last night. Really enjoyed the game, and Minnie comes away with a huge victory there. And when you can win in double overtime, it takes a bit of sting out of the home team too. And losing Pavelski is going to really hurt Dallas. I think that, and everybody knows that, but it's a bit of an understatement. He's not only a great player, but he's a leader on that team, too.
If we get an update, Producer Clark, please let me know on Joe Pavelski, but I'm not expecting anything till game 2.
No.
Are you?
No, I would think, he's, just from what I saw, concussed, obviously, but, how long is that going to take him? He's had a couple. What's the protocol for that? Is it, 2 weeks? Is it 10 days? And in 2 weeks, that series could be over. It will be over one way or the other.
Key player for them. Yeah. Big time key.
And a key goal scorer, too. He just scores goals at the right time, and he's just a great hand-eye coordination. And, as I said, a big leader for that club.
Dan in Saskatoon watching says, morning, guys. Good first night of the playoffs. That Dallas-Minnesota series is going to be an instant classic. One issue is with the ESPN announcers. Stop calling it the blue paint every time. Seems like every shift the puck goes into the blue paint. It's the crease. Sorry, this one annoys me. We all have our pet peeves. I actually don't even turn the sound up for the most part. Is there an announcer phrase that ticked you off?
No, I do the same thing. I'm muted.
Yeah. I do.
My family goes, what are you doing? You can't watch the game. I go, I can.
Yeah, very well.
What's going on?
Rick in Martinsville says you get an automatic 2 minutes for a tap on the hands, and I'm hearing the Dumba hit was maybe a bit late, but not worth 2. We're a day into this thing, and officiating's become a top. I guess that shouldn't be a surprise.
No, I mean, in a play like that where a guy gets hurt, you want to make, it doesn't help him whether there's a penalty or no penalty because Joe's, injured, and you hope for the best for him, but it leads to a lot of, what is a penalty anymore? And it's just said, like we talked about, is it a tap on the stick? Like, if it is, send a guy out with a broken stick and just hopefully somebody hits it and, you drop it and there's a penalty.
Yep.
I just think that the league needs to be better at, what is a penalty and what isn't. And obviously it comes down to the refs. And, I always say, when people go, when did you play the game? And I go, I played when we had more players than refs on the ice. Because there's 4 refs on, you got 2 linesmen, 2 referees on the ice. I mean, it's...
We've only been talking about it for 100 years.
Yeah.
and by the way, replay has made officiating a heck of a lot worse because there's 37 angles of it, right?
Oh, yeah. And I mean, anything, you slow down or you speed it up can look either better or worse. It's the real time that, you need to make the call. And, yeah, is it good for the goals? And, yeah.
Without review, that might have been 5 minutes last night, though.
Yeah. And
right.
That's true, but... I'm not convinced it wasn't worth the 5 if the way they've been calling the game, the way it has been called.
Yeah. Colin Patterson, thanks for coming down, man. Very popular guest, as you can see.
Oh, yeah, the fans are going crazy. Thanks for having me,
Thanks, Patter. Shockey Hockey next, and Mitch Love of the Calgary Wranglers a little later on. We're live from Ace Casino Airport and Hotel Clique Calgary Airport on Game Plus, the streams, and WQEE The Key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
The SJHL raffle is underway with your chance to win a brand new Polaris side-by-side, courtesy the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. Tickets are available now until April 23rd, with the draw taking place live on SJHL Insiders April 27th. 1 for $25, 3 for $60, or 10 for $100, but there are only 5,000 tickets available. Get yours today at sjhlraffle.ca.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
We're live from Ace Casino Airport, Calgary. The Diamond Millions promotion begins April 21st, by the way. Win your share of over $7,000 in luxury diamonds. See guest services or a gaming manager for more information. Well, it was a fantastic night one of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. Night two is tonight, and joining us to talk about it is our good friend Perry Shockey, Perry S. Hockey. I don't know how to introduce you, Shocked, other than all-around great guy. Hockey guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, you were with the LA Kings for how long?
I think 6 years.
Yeah, quite a while.
6, 7
Somebody
years.
said there was another NHL team you were with? Or was the Kings were the lone one?
Yeah, I've done some moonlighting for other teams, where they just call me for information regarding certain players. Like a lot of the 20-year-olds, different teams will ask me about 20-year-olds that are, that have gone through the draft and, probably good prospects, maybe late bloomers,
Right.
The guy that always comes to my mind is Dillon, Brendan Dillon.
It's not bad.
Oh, at 20, he just started to make that huge strides. So
and coached in Spokane, Regina, and Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. And we got to know each other through all of that, but particularly Regina. And we'll get to the dub talk, by the way. Somebody's just written in, Brady in Saskatoon says, "Go Blade!" And says, tough loss for the Oilers last night. They got to play smarter in the dub tonight. Winnipeg's at Moose Jaw, Saskatoon at Red Deer, Seattle at Prince George. Trust me, I'm on it. But I want to get your impression just from night one overall of the Stanley Cup playoff.
Well, I think you already see the controversy starting over certain things. And what you have to realize, I think everybody has to realize, is people that watch their teams occasionally, they're not watching them occasionally now. They're right on top of it. So, I mean, probably the fan base of each individual team has increased by 30%, and especially game one. So, you know, a lot of scrutiny and a lot of pressure on everybody that's out there playing and reffing.
Well, did you have a problem with calls last night?
No, not if they call it like that through the whole playoffs. But if all of a sudden, you know, somebody hits somebody else like they hit last night.
Dumba on Pavelski.
Yeah, and it's a 5-minute penalty, and they're going to say, well, what's the difference? And I was listening to a broadcast this morning. I think it was a former referee, and he was talking. He said, in live time, it's
way different.
It's way different than watching it on the video.
But that's what you heard. We were just talking with Colin Patterson about that, and that's why I know the fans want to talk about it forever, and you coaches do too. But we're one night in.
I would just say consistency as a coach. If it's consistent, hey, if our guy hits like that and their guy hits like that and somebody else's guy, that's what the call is going to be. But if all of a sudden it's a crucial part of a game and it's a hit that's not as severe, and the referees on the other side of the country make the call, now everybody's going, well, what's the margin of error?
Well, I guess there's a little bit of this too, and I don't know if the Oilers are even realizing they're doing it or their fans, but you blew 2-0 and 3-1 leads. Let's not talk about a trip in overtime, which incidentally was a penalty too. Is there a little diversion there, in a way?
Hey, you got to take care of business. If you don't take care of business, then I mean it'll come back and bite you. And I mean every coach, like, you don't think for a minute that coaching staff couldn't feel it? Like, they could feel it happen. Like, you can just see everybody just puckers up a little bit, and you know, the flow of the game changes, the positioning changes, and like the call, I mean, you just going, okay, you know, how do you make that call? The one to cause it to go in overtime. But
the cross check to the head?
Well, the bottom line is that, you know, guys have to follow the code and play within the boundaries. As soon as you step outside the boundaries, you're in trouble.
Where did the Edmonton-LA game change?
I think as soon as they scored their first goal. I think as soon as
make it 2-1.
That's all of a sudden you don't have the flow. You don't have the same game plan. Guys start getting off, you know, maybe somebody tries to do something a little bit too much, or guys don't give enough. You know, it's such a fine line. And when you're in that position, and I've said this forever, you know, everybody that says until you're coaching and it's your livelihood, when it's your livelihood, you'll realize just how important, you know, the game is, and what you teach your players and how you coach them to play, the disciplines that they have to play within. Because to me, though, like, you know, Dumba, I mean, I like the guy, I like the way he plays, but he plays on that edge. If he doesn't make that check, they lose the game.
Yep.
You know, they lose the game if he misses that check, or, you know, where the puck gets through, where he goes through, the game is over. So I really think that players have to, in the playoffs, just have to really, really be disciplined, and they can't let the fans get all emotional. As you have to stay on task, you know, stay on the same page, and, you know, and the more maturity you have on your bench and in your dressing room makes that difference.
Well, we got the hockey guys down here today to talk Stanley Cup playoffs, and Serena was saying this. You haven't met her yet, but you've met her.
I'm looking forward to it.
Right. She's feisty. And I called her this morning. I said, how you doing? She goes, I'm furious. I'm like, uh-oh. She's an Oiler.
You didn't call her last night, no.
It was about the hockey game, of course. And what she brought up is the biggest Oiler fan I know. Well, we blew one to the Flames last year in Game 1, remember?
Yeah. Oh, so, I don't think it's any indication of the series. I really don't. I think it's one game, and I think that it's like a reminder of who they were, and they know who they are now. So it's a reminder of who we were. Now we just have to be who we are and just go on. They're playing a good team. They're playing a team with a lot of structure, a lot of the disciplines, and and it's a team who, I always believe, if you're playing head-to-head with those factors, the team with the most talent is going to win.
What's Jay Woodcroft saying today in the morning skate or in the practice?
Hey, let's move on. Let's move on. There's no reason to dwell on it because we got the next game in front of us. Let's just prepare for it. What are some things we can improve on, and how can we identify as a group when it starts to slip on us a little bit?
From Rod Monroe, producer Clark's dad, good guy and the stiffest handshake ever.
Bingo!
This guy might be number 2. Shocks. But Rod Monroe.
Oh, my grandfather, if you gave him that weak handshake, he'd put you right to the floor.
Well, I don't do it. I don't have a
I know.
But I mean, Rod is a vice grip. Shocks has this. He comes out from left field with, or right field.
Get in there early before you get hurt.
Exactly. Rod says, great show again tonight. Rod, always enjoy your having Colin Patterson on the show. Loved that 89 team with the likes of Fleury, etc. You said a real nice thing about that team in the break that I'd like you to repeat now, if you remember it.
Well, we were just talking, and you said, when did you meet Colin? And I said, there's Perry Pedersen, and you look at, like he wasn't on the team at the time, but, the core of people that were around that team as it was developing, most of them are just really good people. And they're playing for each other. Lanny McDonald, I mean, what did he go through to get the final, the ice time in that game? He'd sat. He sat out a game. He was a healthy scratch. I think one game went for sure.
And because he went in the last game, Tim Hunter came out.
But there's an example. You got Tim Hunter. When you talk to Tim Hunter, and they love the game, they love the people they played with, and that's the most important part. And like you said, if there's any strays in that group, they either get into the fold or else they're ostracized.
Yeah, no, I don't think there was, because all those guys have stuck around.
Exactly.
Most of that team lives here.
Yeah, for sure.
It's wild. And I was, by the way, with Roger Aldag on the weekend, 1989 Grey Cup champion with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and we were talking about the 89 Flames, and Raj goes, what a special year that was. It was for Riders and Flames fans for sure, and I can't let you get out of here without a thought on the big Flames news. Not that you were going anywhere, we got lots of time, but what?
I'm not surprised. I mean, I think there was a problem, so I'm guessing Tree knew there was a problem, and when the start talking contract talks come along, it's like, where do I fit into this? What sort of latitudes are we going to have as general manager and coach if that was the problem? And he wasn't happy with it. He wasn't comfortable. And the other thing is that, do you think he's going to be able to work for very long?
No, probably by the end of the week you'll have something.
Yeah, I mean, and he's a good guy. He's a really good person. Like he cares about it. I think they mentioned the other day that when their pregame skate, it was the first time he'd ever been down to the ice surface.
9 years.
In 9 years. And I thought that might be a little bit of the swan song, where he was just expressing to those young guys, hey, good luck in your careers and wish you the very best.
Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, does Sutter stay for sure? That's the point. It was one or the other. That's the way I read it.
Well, I think there's somewhere around 8 million reasons why they kept him. And they're called dollars. And I mean, money talks. So, but I think that if everybody buys into the way, like, Daryl needs a buffer. He really does. He's a little bit like Mike Babcock. They need buffers. They need guys that can talk to the players and make them understand, like, hey, what does he want from you? If you give it to him, does he reward you? And if he doesn't reward you, now we go to bat for you. So it really goes down to the players buying in and participating in the game plan and doing their jobs. And if you don't do them with Daryl, it's pretty straightforward. He doesn't beat around the bush about it.
So the answer is yes, Daryl stays for probably at least 2 more years. I think he would see the end of that contract.
I don't think it's just about the money. I think that there's a maturity there of being to the Stanley Cup. I'm pretty sure if you talk to the LA Kings year that they were finished in 8th, I think it went right down to the last game and they had to rely on somebody else to win a game or lose a game in order for them to get in. They win the Stanley Cup. everything that you preached those guys all year started rolling in right at the end of the year, and they started feeling the flow and just the genre of the team. And I think that Daryl, with these young guys, I think if they buy into what he wants them to do and stuff, because there's a lot of talent there. There's no question.
Right? 3 minutes left. Big game in Red Deer tonight. Pivotal game 3. Rebels up 2-0 on the Saskatoon Blades. That's why you're going to it?
That's why I'm going to it. Yeah. I really like Saskatoon. I do. I think I can see why they got to where they were at. They work hard. They got a really good skating team. I think Red Deer just has a little more depth in some areas. And, you know, I mean, was it the King kid scored what? Got
Ben King's
4 points, 5 points the other night? I mean, you better be able to contain those guys.
Did Lethbridge even lay a hand on Moose Jaw?
Yeah, I think they did. They bumped and grind a little bit with them, but Moose Jaw just, I mean, they got some really good players there. Jaeger and you know, Furcus. I think he scored 3 goals.
Matejchuk.
Yeah, I think the league really had separation this year when it came right down to the teams that had, you know, there's kind of the really good teams, and then there's the next tier, and then there's the following tier, but the top tiers are really, really strong, and that's who's facing each other right now. It's a great playoff. I mean, there's no surprises of who's playing in this round of the playoffs, the second round.
Not at all. We've had 1 week of Bedard free talk, although the rankings came out today, I guess, for Central Scouting. And
guess what?
Bedard's number 1.
Yeah.
From the viewers, the Ted in Red Deer says, the real question is, does Daryl know he needs a buffer? Don't know. Jeff in Winnipeg says that Kings team was big and grinded teams into the ground all the way to the Cup. He's talking about 2012. Andrew says, we have to remember that GMs always want to choose their coach. Well, they're doing it a little different here. Shucks, that's it. Thanks for coming by. You've in 30 seconds, you're going to a funeral today. This cool guy.
Yeah, Mike Hill. A lot of people in the hockey industry will know him, especially the referees. I think every referee in the league for about 8 or 9 years wore the skates, the Graf skates.
Graf skates.
And Mike was the one that brought Graf to Canada, went and convinced Mr. Graf, he always called him Mr. Graf, and built a factory here and started making skates in North America. And so,
in the 80s, I couldn't afford them. I remember those. Ooh.
Yeah.
What are these things?
They were nice. They were nice. There was only one shop in Calgary. It was a figure skating shop that carried the Graf skates, because I think it kind of overlapped into what they really probably started with.
Well, kudos to you for doing that. Enjoy the game tonight, and thanks for stopping in and Ace, Shucks.
Always. My pleasure.
The great Perry S. Hockey. Shockey's the name, hockey's the game. Yeah. Mitch Love joins us next. AHL Coach of the Year. The Calgary Wranglers were live on Game Plus Network, the streams, and your southern home of sports and talk, WQEE, the key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult, because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
The SJHL raffle is underway with your chance to win a brand new Polaris side-by-side, courtesy the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. Tickets are available now until April 23rd, with the draw taking place live on SJHL Insiders April 27th. 1 for 25, 3 for 60, or 10 for 100, but there are only 5,000 tickets available. Get yours today at sjhlraffle.ca.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
We are back live at Ace Casino Airport and Hotel Cleat, Calgary Airport. By the way, jackpot jet to Vegas from now until July 6th. Enter to win a trip for two on a private jet to Las Vegas, complete with a weekend hotel stay and spending money. Drop into Ace Casino Airport, see guest services or a gaming manager for more information. Well, you can bring this next guest in. The American Hockey League announced this week, yesterday, in fact, that Mitch Love of the Calgary Wranglers is the winner of the Louis A.R. Pierre Memorial Award as the AHL's outstanding coach for the 2022-23 season. It's the second straight season that Lovers won it. So I'll start there, Mitch, on the cusp of the AHL playoffs. Congratulations on that award. What does it mean to you, Coach?
Well, I appreciate that, Rod. It's always good to come on the show, man. In some conversations I had yesterday with local media and whatnot, obviously it's an honor to be the recipient of this award, just like it was last year, and to just see some of the former coaches that have received this award in the American Hockey League. I'm sure you've spent some time looking at that. John Cooper, he's the one guy that comes to mind right off the bat who's had some success in the National Hockey League, and but there's many others, and so the honor to get that award from the peers, the other coaches that vote amongst the award, and the local media in different cities that follow our league. It's a tremendous honor, and but that being said, I don't get this award without a good regular season with a lot of hard work put in by our players and our staff as a whole. I mean, it's tough to win at any level, and we made this move to Calgary this year, and it was a little different from what we were used to last year, and guys adapted, and I can't thank them enough for all their efforts in terms of making sure we had a consistent regular season.
Well, you're certainly doing something very right, and Mitch, not only have I looked at it, I know that you're only the third coach in AHL history to win it back-to-back. Bill Dineen and Robbie Fatorik are the others, so it's quite an honor. Now, you got to forgive me. You just saw Shocks on here, and Colin Patterson was here earlier. We're trying to find your playoff schedule. We can't find it on the AHL website. What's the deal? What's happening in the playoffs for your top-ranked Wranglers?
Yeah, so I believe, again, I'll put my PR hat on here for a second, but don't quote me on any of this stuff. I believe we're playing next week. I think they're looking at a Wednesday game one. With a game two on a Friday at home, obviously. So We won't know our opponent till Sunday evening, based on the format that the Pacific Division has in here in the American Hockey League. And so, we're taking a little bit of time here as a team to get away from the game a bit, get some rest. It's well deserved, and then get back to work tomorrow.
Well, and that's the thing. I go to every Wranglers game that I can, and you mentioned your roster. I mean, there is a wealth of talent there. Who are the guys that you're going to need? All guys, but who are the key guys for you in the playoffs in your mind for you to have success?
Well, yeah, like you said, you're going to need everybody, over the course of a long playoff run, if you're fortunate enough to be a part of that. And but at the end of the day, you need your best players to be your best players too. We've got what we consider the best goaltender in the American Hockey League, and is going to be probably in the conversation. If not, should be the recipient of the MVP, in my opinion. And Dustin Wolf, and you got Matthew Phillips, who's had a phenomenal hockey season for us and has been tremendous for this organization. And he's playing in his hometown, and then the list goes on and on. I was talking yesterday with a local global TV here, and just talked about a lot of our guys have had some career years and as pros, and I think that's important for any team to have success. You need guys to develop and continue to progress as young athletes. And but this time of year, we're going to need everybody to fulfill their roles. We got to stay healthy, and try to put an entertaining brand of playoff hockey on the ice for the Calgary hockey fans.
You mentioned him, so I'll go a little further down that road of Matthew Phillips. So I went to the game where you guys were playing Henderson. Remember that out? Well, it was the afternoon game because you had them back to back, but it's like 8,000 people there. And I'm sitting with Shocks and Tim Speltz, and Perry's like, "Watch this little Matthew Phillips, man." I looked about 5'7", just a jitterbug, man, all over the ice. They love this guy, Matthew Phillips. What's he like to coach?
He's outstanding. I mean, obviously, I've had the pleasure to work with him over the last couple hockey seasons here, and I was quite familiar with him in our days in the Western Conference and in the Western Hockey League when he was in Victoria and I was in Everett. And man, he chews you up and spits you out as a player. It's nice to be on the right side of it now here with the Flames organization here with the Wranglers, and have him as kind of our go-to offensive player. He's just a player that's won't be denied. He's got an incredible high hockey IQ, which allows him, I believe, to play at such a small stature out there. And he's a competitor. He wants to win. He wants to be the difference maker each and every night. And his heart is as big as anybody's, and we're fortunate to have him here.
Well, it sounds like he's the kind of guy that he would just be relishing the opportunity that lays ahead in the playoffs, like all of your guys. But just this year, 66 games, 76 points. So he's more than a point-a-game guy. He's like, without going too far, but he's like this generation's Theo Fleury. That's what he looked like out there to me, except he's not going to be in the penalty box half the night.
No, he's definitely not that. But you know what? He goes to the hard areas of the rink. For a guy that's 148 pounds at 5'7", that tells you what kind of courage he has to play the game the right way. And I think that leads into the offensive numbers he has put up over the course of his career in this league. And, he's still searching for that opportunity. And he's working towards that, and he's got to keep working towards that. Of course, the knock on him is his size, and he knows that, but he's such a smart hockey player. You can kind of put him with, anybody on your roster, and he's going to make you better. And because he kind of drags you into the fight. And, I've seen that night in, night out for us over the last couple of years, Rod, and we're going to need him to come up big for us in the playoffs.
Jason in Red Deer would like to know, what is your assessment of Dustin Wolf's debut with the Flames last week? Oh, we lost him. Is he still there? Ooh. What did he get a call? Shoot. Oh, we got him back? Okay, thanks. Sorry about that. We lost your lover for a second. Jason in Red Deer wants to know, what's your assessment of Dustin Wolf's debut with the Flames last week?
I'll be honest with you. I didn't even watch it. We were playing in Abbotsford that same evening. So, obviously our focus was into there. But, checking scores in the intermissions to see how he's doing. I watched probably about the last 10 minutes of the third period, just the rerun at night in my hotel room there in Abbotsford. And but again, all reports said Dustin was Dustin. He had a little bit of probably a nervous start to his game, but then settled in and just does what he does. He just worries about his next stop, and he's a heck of a goaltender.
Yeah, well, I watched it, and also the announcers were saying he has earned this, and they put all his stats up. Like, Mitch, have you seen domination? I have not, by a goalie statistically, like what he's done for you guys this year. In any league, I haven't.
Yeah, I mean, it's remarkable, what he's been able to do the last 2 hockey seasons. I mean, last year's one thing, he's a first-year pro, and he has a good hockey season, and so you're kind of like, okay, well, what's the next year going to be like? And I think you always kind of anticipate a bit of a dip, or you want to call it the sophomore slump, at different levels. But he had a bit of a slow start here in his second year, like this year, and then he started to really buckle down and really get back to his focus, and he's been unbelievable. I mean, his numbers are greater than they were last year. And like I mentioned earlier, Rod, this guy deserves to be an MVP in this league. He's for sure the goalie of the year, but he's got to be in the conversation for MVP because, without him and even Oscar Danks, our other goaltender here, we're probably not having the record we got this year.
Well, Mitch, we've reached the end of our time, but go finish it off with a Calder Cup. We'll see you in the Dome. For sure, and I appreciate your time today. Congrats on the trophy.
Got one more thing, Rod. I got to put this hat on here just for Game 3 today. Go Blades. Go Blades.
Looks good on you.
Red Deer. All right.
Yes,
all right,
Game 3 tonight. You betcha. Appreciate it. The pride of Quesnel, BC, and never forgot where he came from. Mitch Lover. Oh, it's a big one tonight, the Centrium. We'll be right back with Overtime. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, YouTube, and the streams, as well as WQEE from Ace Casino Airport and Hotel Clique Casino, Calgary Airport. We'll be right back.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
The SJHL raffle is underway with your chance to win a brand new Polaris side-by-side, courtesy the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. Tickets are available now until April 23rd, with the draw taking place live on SJHL Insiders April 27th. 1 for $25, 3 for $60, or 10 for $100. But there are only 5,000 tickets available. Get yours today at sjhlraffle.ca.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
RP Show continues, and by the way, voted one of Canada's top burgers. It's a Cleek thing. Check it out at Tonic Kitchen and Bar, open till 1 a.m. nightly at Hotel Cleek, Calgary Airport. That's where I will be tonight. At least that's the plan, watching the Leafs and the Lightning in Game 1 of their series. As a matter of fact, let's jump into a sports update here right now in overtime, which is proudly brought to you by the Four Seasons Sports Palace, your home for the Stanley Cup Playoffs, your playoff pool, and the UFC. The Leafs and Jets open their first-round Stanley Cup Playoff Series tonight. The Leafs host the Tampa Bay Lightning, while the Jets visit the Golden Knights. In the other series openers, the Seattle Kraken play their first-ever playoff game against the defending champion Colorado Avalanche, while the New York Rangers visit the New Jersey Devils. The poll today for Key Auto Group, and you don't need to flash the graphic, guys, but it is, what's the game of the night in the Stanley Cup Playoffs? And leading the way, I voted for it. Obviously, Moose voted for it. Clark would have. It's the Leafs and the Lightning. I don't know down the line in round one where my rooting interest will be, or just interest period, but for now it's Leafs Lightning. There were two overtime games Monday night as the playoffs got underway. Alex Iafallo's power play goal at 9:19 of overtime lifted the visiting LA Kings to a 4-3 victory over the Oilers, who were 18 seconds away from winning in regulation before Anze Kopitar tied it. And in Dallas, Ryan Hartman scored at 12:20 of the second overtime period as the Minnesota Wild edged the Stars 3-2. And that's my game. That's my pick to be the round one upset. Wild over the Stars. Book it. Toronto Blue Jays squashed 9-2 Monday night by the Houston Astros in the first of a 6-game roadie. Will try to bounce back tonight at Minute Maid Park. The 10-7 Blue Jays will send righty Chris Bassett to the mound, while the 8-9 Astros will roll out right-handed pitcher Jose Urquidy. There are 3 playoff games in the association tonight as the Celtics, Knicks, and Suns look to grab 2-0 leads in their first-round best-of-7 series. And that's about it. Text me now. It's just you and me for the rest of the way, and that's 6 full minutes, which will go by fast. But if you've got questions or comments for me, now's the time to get it to me. We had a lot of guests moving in through here today, and that's awesome. But now, if you have questions or comments, now's your time. 902-518-3033. The sports update is for Landmark Cinemas. Enter to win a movie night out at Landmark Cinemas for movie lovers. Nobody texted in yesterday. Were your fingers broken? All you have to do is text movie to 902-518-3033 to be entered. Winners are picked every Friday to enjoy a movie night out this weekend. And in theaters now, Renfield. In this modern monster tale of Dracula's loyal servant, Nicholas Hoult stars as Renfield, the tortured aide to history's most narcissistic boss, Dracula, played by Oscar winner Nicolas Cage. Renfield is forced to procure his master's prey and do his every bidding, no matter how debased. But now, after centuries of servitude, Renfield is ready to see if there's a life outside the shadow of the Prince of Darkness. If only he can figure out how to end his codependency. In theaters now, Renfield, your local Landmark Cinemas. Hang on. Oh, here come all the Here come all the contest entrants. 902-518-3033. Where do we start? Hang on. I'm just going to the stream feed here. From WQEE, Ryan O'Radio, another great RP show, Atlanta's NHL show. He says Atlanta is setting up to maybe bring an NHL team here again. Huh? Tell me more. Ryan, you can't drop that with 4 minutes left in the show. I don't know anything about that. But I'm here for it. Were they going to play at State Farm Arena? Gas South Arena? Ryan, text me. Landry in Billings, Montana says, Rod, what do you think will be the biggest X factor in the Jets night series? You ask me to pick one? Our buddy Jack Eichel, Shock. They just asked, what's the biggest X factor in the series? I said Jack Eichel. If he shows up, and tonight will be his first playoff game ever, at any level. That's my X factor, Jack Eichel. There you go. That's what Krim gave up the franchise for, right? Okay. Thanks for the question, Landry. When the Golden Knights were here, Shocks and I were sitting in the press box together, kind of visiting, and in the flame zone, Eichel stick handled through the whole team, went out to the blue line, and then rifled a backhand that we didn't even see. We both looked at each other like, never seen anything like it. So if Eichel's head is right and he's healthy and rested, I think that he's the X factor. Or he'll just wither away. This is where we'll find out potentially who won the trade. Mark Stone? I don't know. Don't have the update. What do you think this is, Golden Knights TV?
How about that?
I'm not cheering for him anymore. Ryan McCarthy in New York says, have a great Tuesday, everyone. Enjoy whichever sport you watch tonight. Well, I think we all know what that's going to be. I saw this. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in. He says the Stampeders slogan for 2023 is hashtag Together We Ride. I like that. Last minute of play in the RP show. It's interesting. Jay McNeil was down with us on Friday, the Stampeders VP of Business, and he played with the Stamps for, I think, 14 years. It was very interesting. We asked, what's life going to be like without Bo from a marketing standpoint? And he said he was the face of the team since 2014. We're now going to market the team. And I like that, obviously. And it comes out as Together We Ride is their statement. Jeff in Winnipeg says, congrats to my Steinbach Pistons on reaching the MJHL final, winning in 6 games over Swan Valley. The coach, Greg Dick of the Pistons. Good friend of mine. I think they'll be my rooting interest in the MJ final. Thank you, Jeff, for pointing that out. Former Moose Jaw Warrior. Thanks to Colin Patterson, Perry Shockey, and Lover. We'll see you tomorrow, noon Eastern, right here.
Who has more fun than us?
How about that? Bob's your uncle. Hoo-bah! Hot damn!